What should we talk about?
I had an idea come to me of
Yeah.
something that I'd like to hear you talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know how it will come. But something about like how spiritual ego shows
Yeah.
up in so many different ways, and just how we, I don't know, how maybe we can stay open to just spotting it in ourselves, not in a like checking ourselves way, but because I feel like the nature of spiritual ego is that we don't spot it in ourselves.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
and you can just kind of live behind it for a long time, feeling like, oh, I'm so weak or something. But like really, you're living from some spiritual idea.
Correct. Yeah, let's see. Good one. Spiritual ego. The construction of the apparent ego always depends on some conceptual knowledge. So it's very easy actually in Advaita to take, because everything sounds so absolute, definitive. No? So to take it to be that way, as if the pointer itself is true knowledge, you see, and then to start relying on that as a true source of truth, you see, is the spiritual ego. So to rely on conceptual knowledge is ego, to rely on spiritual knowledge is spiritual ego. So if you take the words of Satsang, are you aware now, don't believe your next thought, be open and empty, you see, and use it as a conceptual way of life, as if it's like a religion, you see, which is giving you the ethical ways in which to live, then that becomes the spiritual ego. Right? This is my way of life. I am being open and empty. I am being aware now. I am being loving to everyone. I don't see any separation. You see? Which are all beautiful words which are meant to point and take us beyond the head into our heart. You see, beyond conceptual knowledge into heart knowledge. But when it becomes as if I know something conceptually, you see, that is the spiritual ego. So when somebody says, no, I feel like the point of human life is to love everyone, you see, and we go and say, but there are no others. You see, Bhagavan said, what others? You're still stuck in duality. So that is a sign of spiritual ego. We feel like we're not, depends on where the other one is coming from, but we could just take these Advaitic, absolutist positions and become dogmatic about them and say that I know the truth. To what is the opposite of spiritual ego? Not rely on conceptual knowledge. Meet life moment to moment, allow this mouth to speak from intuitive insight, you see? And not be so caught up in, but I said this, no, I said that. And we're not trying to create a systematic way of spirituality, because no system is subtle enough to capture God. You see? So the minute we have the sense that this is it, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this I know, this I know, this I know, then you better pray for grace to slap us out of our righteousness. So it's just coming up like this. So I don't need to know that I'm sitting on a sofa, because I can check I'm sitting on a sofa. So the way we rely on things, so Satsang is shared fresh from what is the insight right here and now. The minute we start relying on notions of past and previous experiences and knowledge and the things we think we know, that is just spiritually.
So just before coming here, it was like, why I'm going, I know what he's going to speak.
Yes, that is spiritually. Sorry. I know, like any claim to truth, based on an instrument which is unable to find the truth. You see, is ego, is delusion, is avidya, jnana, whatever you want to call it. You see? So, what is the weight of this room? You see? Because weight is the wrong unit. No? You see? Weight is the wrong unit. You may say, what is the size of this room? You see? So when the mind which is capable of weighing things then is trying to tell us the size of something, you see, that is a misunderstanding. That is avidya. You see? That is ignorance. And what is the main ignorance? The main ignorance is the idea of separation, the idea of limitation, the idea of me. You see? So when you say, why should I go, but I already know what he's going to say, you see, you can dissect it word by word and you will find that mainly the thing is that who are we taking yourself and him to be, you see? Which is the central idea of ignorance. The central idea of the mind is to create an ignorant notion of what we are. So, if you have an ignorant notion of what we are, that is the ego. If that ignorant notion of what we are is spiritual in nature, that is spiritual ego. And spiritual ego is the hardest to shake off because it is just like, it already knows. Like this, no? It already knows. So I already know. What's he going to say? If I'm going to ask a question, he's going to say, but who? You see? So this pool of knowledge, which is conceptual, and you can smell it being conceptual, you see, misrepresents you, misrepresents the world, and makes everything into a narrative of limitation. You see? And therefore it can become like this. And it starts off very subtly. You don't need to go, because you already know. You don't need to go. Right. And then for a while you may even feel like, it's fine, I didn't go, and I was sitting by myself, instead of getting confused with the words of Satsang, which is fine. See, it's so good. And that's why I was saying, the mind will first sell you a terrible idea. You see, it will say if you don't go to Satsang, you will lose your freedom. You can never find it. You'll have a full of suffering life, full of misery. You see, and then it will prod you and say, okay, today I'm a bit tired. It's like I know his stuff. Let's not go. And then it will say, it was fine. Nothing happened. I didn't suffer. In fact, I was feeling fully fine.
And how long you will depend on him?
How long will you depend on him? Isn't it time to become independent? He has taken you so far. The last mile you have to do by yourself. You see, all this nonsense has caused a lot of fatalities in Satsang. But it can be like that. And then because it sold you, like I never said that you will suffer a lot if you don't come to Satsang. You see, it sold you on that idea. And then later it tells you, see, all this fear was unfounded. You're just fine. See? The next day, some other thing. Then later, some other thing. Slowly, it feels like I, me. Doesn't have to happen that way. But in many cases, it happens that way, where the I, me is there, and then we land. And then it makes us feel also like the prodigal son. Saying, I can't go back now. See? So it's like punch combination after punch combination. I can't go back now. Because Ananta will say, but why have you come now? You see? Never said that to anyone. How you come now? You see? So it's very, very subtle. So it's first the idea of misery without satsang is also an idea itself. Then it uses that to tell you, see, but nothing happened. I was just fine. In fact, I was feeling much freer without coming to satsang. And slowly. And again, I'm saying it's not necessary. It's not necessary that it plays out that way. It can play out in consciousness in any way. But many times it does happen like this. So you have to just check, smell, where it is coming from. So So the ego is a misrepresentation of who we are. The spiritual ego is the spiritual misrepresentation of who we are, based on spiritual concepts itself. Spiritual concepts itself. Now, what happens in satsang? The mind plays the game both ways. If you're resonating with what is being said, many times the mind will come and say, yeah, I already knew this. What is the point of coming? If you're not resonating with what is being said, it says, it's pointless because I didn't understand anything anyway. You see? So some invitation has to compel you to the heart. You see? And not so rely on being so conclusive, being so judgmental about what this is, what this means, what should happen to me, what is the benefit or loss of coming to satsang. We have to stop doing this business for some time. You see? And I don't know what is the way that happens. We can call it grace if you want. You see? What is the way in which it happens that we're not so concerned about judging? So I went, what happened? Is it good? Was it bad? And what capacity do we have within us to make that judgment? If the idea is to be free from the thief, then we really rely on the thief itself. Hey, what do you think? You're not bad. You see? So, what is the source of knowledge which can tell us what we should do? Is there such a source at all? Is it? For anything that is valuable, anything that is worth knowing, where can we go to know? Like what is worth knowing? Let's say love. If there is love, it is worth knowing. Where can we go? To the head? It will just tell you notions of love. Oh, Rumi said. Oh, Hafiz said. Oh, garbage. It doesn't matter what he said. What is your insight of love? What is your experience of love? Can your head tell you? Cannot capture it. What is joy? What is truth? All the questions in inquiry. Who am I? All the Zen koans.
It's another thing like with the whole insight thing.
Louder please?
With the whole insight thing can be
Yes.
a bit tricky because
Yes.
it's like you get an insight,
Yes.
but if you don't have the understanding that there's always a deeper insight,
Yes.
then you can get.
Yes.
Like it's not like that. Like yes, it's valid or whatever, but there's always another way of looking at it.
Yes.
Deeper way.
Exactly.
So that keeps the kind of openness.
Yes. And if you're referring to insight in the same vocabulary, actually we can never say that this was my insight. You see? We can say that these are the words available at the moment to communicate that. You see? Provisional words. Because insight, like no insight I've ever had, I found the perfect words to share. You see? Like what is love? And now we say, but the highest love is non-separation. You see? But those are the words available. But was that what I found love to be? No. You see? I don't feel like I've ever found the words to express myself. You see? So the insight is the insight. The sight within is the insight. The words that we use are communication tools or pointers which may at best try to point there. You see? But no insight I've ever had has been translated, or I have been able to translate into an insight which is capturable in an efficient way in words. You see? So in the sharing of satsang also the words just keep getting clarified. But is there a satsang transcript I can look at and say, hey, this set of words truly captures what I have seen? So it is just so unfathomable conceptually, and yet the process of trying to point to it conceptually seems to serve some purpose, because at least you can negate the false idea. You see, you can, like poison cutting poison, can negate the false idea. You see, but you're absolutely right to be able to say this is it, and this is what it captures. It's like when I ask you, are you aware now? You have an insight. Huh? Now say that. Are you aware now? You can say yes, it captures. The yes captures it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't capture it. It is just you're pointing to a direct insight that you have, but the yes is meaningless. Because you could be saying yes because you tried it yesterday, and you have a memory of what happened. You could say yes because you know it is the right answer. You don't want to look back. You could be saying yes for many things. So the yes itself is meaningless. But are you aware now? You see, what is the insight there? What is the insight there? You see? So that cannot be put in words. That's why when I say blah 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 blah, that is not the insight. I'm just trying some way to get us all to look in the same way. Say, ask yourself, who am I? Bhagavan said, ask yourself, who am I? With true sincerity, with the true looking. What can we say? What did we find? Awareness? Of course not. Consciousness? Of course not. But as far as words go, maybe they can be useful to point to that. You see, what is love? Were you born? Were you born? What is the insight? You see, now it is not that you don't know. It is not that you don't know. Like it is not that you don't know. When I say, are you aware now? It is not that you don't know, but you don't know here. And that translation from that heart knowing or intuitive knowing to conceptual knowing is impossible. There is no gap. There is no bridge that way. You see? And the biggest way to suffer in spirituality is to try and convert heart knowledge into conceptual knowledge. You see, to try and create a framework of understanding which accurately translates a single insight into something which we can take as the gospel truth. It's full of suffering, and life will show you it is broader than that. Whatever you may say it is. You see, so if I say ultimately you are awareness, that's it. It's nonsense. I mean, it's not an insight. It is at best a pointer. You see? And I would like you to argue with me on that point. At least you're trying to then look for yourself. And ultimately I'll also say it's pure nonsense, of course. So the insight is not what is coming out in the words. It is in the actual heart scene, intuitive insight. You see? You see? It's like, do you love your son? No? Then you say, of course I love my son. You see? It's clear. But it is not based on a feeling. It's not always present. You see? Like, oh, I love Kabir. Kabir, I love you so much. Kabir. It's not always there. I want to whack him on the head. No? And still, I love my son. You see? So it's not based on the evidence of a perceptual feeling that we can say, oh, we love our children. You see? Or I love my son. No, sometimes I just want to be free from all of you. Just like, I'm done now. I'm done. I don't want to deal with this stuff anymore. Like that. So like that. But I love my son. So independent of the feeling which may be there, because sometimes there is this feeling, sometimes there is that feeling. In the human play, all these feelings will come and go. That is not showing you that you love your children. What is the basis for that? How do you know that you love your children? Is it because of a theory, oh, this is my child, I should love him, it is the ethical thing to do, it is the right way to live? No. You see? So, things which are truly valuable, you see, can only be met with intuitive insight. And those insights are untranslatable in words. Every single master has different expression. Every single master has a different expression. You are this, some are saying you are that, some are saying you are this, do that. Everything is different. Because although the insight may be same, the expression rarely is. So, the insight is not a conceptual translation of the insight as a conceptually attainable piece of knowledge. You see? At least an insight in Satsang is that which is beyond expression. That's a good segue actually, because a good piece to add on to this, so to rely on conceptual knowledge posing as if it is insight in a spiritual way is spiritually good. Because it makes you very rigid in terms of, but I know it's not like that. You see? First time, this is stupidity in the human condition. I read an Osho book when I was very much younger called The Inner Journey. And reading that, I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, because what he was sharing in terms of the experience of this chakra being like this and this chakra being like that, mine was exactly the opposite. So I said, this is the rigidity and the stupidity. It could just have been a typo, but I was looking for reasons to be right. You see, I was looking for reasons to be right. So then that is spiritually. I have had experience. See, how do you know that your memory is showing you the right experience that you have? You see? So that which makes us rigid is ego. That which keeps us soft, open is freedom. Even that is not. Can't become too rigid about that.
They say that when you still the mind, the thoughts, then completely if there are no thoughts, then you'll be able to see yourself. I mean, it's been read, I read that. Now, while stilling the mind, if I'm watching the breath, is it okay or is it wrong?
It's very good.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's very
Yeah,
good.
if I watch the breath,
Yes.
for how long should I do it? I mean, to find myself who I am.
Acha. Okay. Let's look at this. Thank you for this question. Firstly, the appearance of a thought is not thinking.
No, not thinking. There is no thought. I can make it that way. If I'm watching the breath, then
yes. I'm saying
the thought
that
comes and goes once in a way. I mean, it's not completely clean, but most of the time I'll be watching the breath. Says like that. Then it's for 20-30 minutes, and I keep a timer for 30 so that I sit there for 30 minutes. You know. But that is not adequate, Guruji. I mean, should I do it more often? This thing is I have no problems in life. I mean, things have settled, but still I'm not. There's some discontentment. I don't want to jump with joy. Just be normal. You know? But it's not there. The mind is not comfortable. So to make it comfortable, I'm trying certain ways. Which is one is watching the breath, and then I of course we read books, and even in your this thing with consciousness, you must know. That knowing I didn't follow. You must know that you're conscious. That conscious, you must understand the consciousness.
Like that I say?
That I couldn't. Yeah.
Let's look at this. This is very good. So, first the question was, what is the prerequisite for self-recognition?
Yeah.
So, how much time should I be in the no mind for myself to be apparent? You see, the unborn. You see, in no time it's apparent. No time it's apparent. You see? Now, right now, are they only perceptions?
Yeah, I'm conscious. Yeah.
Right now, are they only perceptions, or do you notice something other than that?
I notice everything.
Which is perceived, and what else?
No, I didn't follow Guruji.
Yeah, let's take our time on this. Don't worry. There's no rush. They have nothing better to do. Okay, so don't worry. If the entire satsang goes in our conversation, it's very good. Don't worry.
Okay.
So he said, we're trying to look at the question of what is the requirement or prerequisite which is needed for true self-recognition to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is what we are exploring. Now we are saying that, okay, suppose we don't give it any time. Is it at all possible? That sounds absurd, I know.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Is it possible without any time or without any prerequisites for the self to become apparent? So first let's try this crazy experiment.
Right.
If it doesn't work, we'll figure out how much time is needed. Huh? So now without any preparation, without any meditation, without any mindfulness,
Right.
nothing, you see, in your present experience, do you recognize only perception or do you recognize something which is beyond perception as well?
I didn't follow the word perception.
Yes, perception,
It's to
anything with a
see.
quality, anything with a
with
guna.
quality. Okay. Yeah. That when I'm sitting here, I see everything. There's a lot of seeing and it is going into the mind.
Yes.
And there are people here and Guruji is there and all. It is there, but yeah.
It's good, it's very good. So you're noticing that all these people are sitting here, one body which is called Guruji is sitting here, all this is there. Now, you are aware that you are witnessing all of this?
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware that I'm looking at all this and I'm asking. I'm conscious
Very
of
good,
it.
very
I'm
good,
aware.
Very good.
Yeah.
So this awareness of yourself
Ah.
is the recognition of the self,
Yeah. I'm aware of myself. Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not confused, oh, is it I that is aware of this world of perception, or is it Daizan, or is it Shreya? It's clear it's you. Whether that you is that body or no, we'll come to.
Right.
Is it?
Right.
You're clear it is you that is witnessing all of this.
Right.
And yet, this you, is it witnessed?
Is it?
Is it witnessed?
I didn't follow.
Is it perceived?
It is. Yeah. That I am aware and I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Is it perceived?
Yeah, I perceive it.
Does it have a quality?
Quality. Quality is. It's just aware.
Yes,
And there's
So let
no
me
quality or anything.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So let me help a little bit with vocabulary. No? Help
Yeah.
a little. When I say perception,
Ah.
I'm talking about an attribute which is seen, like a color, shape, size,
I like that.
length, breadth, duration. All of these are attributes. These are
Yeah.
called phenomenal attributes. These are the gunas. You see, we are trying to find something which is beyond gunas, beyond attributes.
Yeah, it is
Isn't
no
it?
attributes.
Right? So now you rightly said that just sitting here, all this world of attributes is perceived.
Yeah,
You see?
I perceive.
Now that which is aware of this world of attributes,
Yeah.
what quality does it have?
It's just aware. It has no quality.
It has no quality.
That's
It
what
has
I
no,
think.
yes, very good. It has no quality. You see? Now, are you saying this from learnt knowledge or are you saying this fresh right
But
now?
it's from within. I mean, it's
Very
not
good.
learned.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you are recognizing something about yourself
Yeah.
which is independent of quality, guna.
Yeah, upon that.
That is Nirguna Brahman.
Ah. No, but because we read the books, now I'm conscious. I'm conscious. That consciousness is reflected consciousness. I mean, I'm aware that Guruji is here, I'm aware. That awareness, what I have understood, is the reflected consciousness or Chidabhasa, as they say. But the real, see, so I'm aware of that, still I'm unhappy. But if I really seen the
Seen
real
it,
consciousness,
you
I
will
would
not
be
be
like
unhappy.
this.
Yes.
I would be a different person. I
Yes.
would be happy and calm and whatever.
Yes.
So to get that, not the reflected consciousness I have, that's
Yes.
why I'm able to see, talk, live, everything.
Yes.
But to get the real consciousness, not the
Yes.
reflected, that is why I was saying was that stillness would help to
Yes.
get that or something like that. I'm not very sure, so I'm asking.
So it is impossible to do what I am asking to do.
Ah.
It is really impossible to do what I am asking you to do if you want some outcome out of it, or if you have a way to judge whether you are getting it or not.
Yeah, whether I'm in the correct path or
Correct,
whether I'm
correct.
going
Now,
forward.
So those things which you read, beautiful, beautiful. You come to self-realization, that will give you so much peace, you will be full of bliss, all of that. It was useful as far as that is concerned. Now you need to leave that, you see, and come to truth for truth's sake. Why do you want the truth? Because it is true.
Yeah.
Not because I have a want out of it, because a want is belonging to the small I, the ego. You see?
Yeah.
So you cannot keep the ego in your pocket and say, show me God. You see?
Yeah.
So you have to come back to the innocence of an infant.
Yeah.
Return to the innocence of the infant. All the knowledge that you read served its purpose. Yeah. So it served its purpose. Right now, you have to become like a child. You see? Because if you use conceptual benchmarks of trying to match your experience with some author has said somewhere, you see, then their mind will use that and say, I was promised Satchidananda, where is the Ananda? If you are truly coming to the truth, then, and the mind can only fathom that part. Sat and Chit is beyond it. So it says, show me where is the Ananda. You see? And then many times to many of you, you also confirm, oh, there's so much Ananda. And that Ananda goes away. So you say, I lost it. Sat and Chit also went. Because Ananda went. You see? So the instrument that we are using to measure Ananda, you see, firstly the Ananda which is talked about is not Bhajan Ananda or some objective Ananda, it is Brahmananda. You see? And Brahmananda is that which we cannot measure. It is not a feeling. You see? It is the enjoyment of sleep state. What happened to you in sleep state? You say, there was nothing there. Even I was not there, we may say. I experienced that even I was not there. You see? So, in the absence of all phenomena, you see, the absence of any feeling, experience, any phenomenal, even the sense I am may not be there. You see? And we call that the supreme Ananda, Brahmananda. Can the mind fathom Brahmananda? Can it measure it? No. It cannot. You see? So, when I ask you if you are aware, you are noticing yourself beyond all attributes, that itself is the bliss, that itself is the Ananda, that is the same as the Ananda of Brahmananda. You see? So, but best is not to worry about the Sat part, the rest will take care of itself. Yes. So, we were at this very beautiful point where you said, yes, I am aware of perceptions, and yet the I that is aware of perceptions, it is clear that it is I, but it is clear independent of perception.
Yeah, it's independent perception. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not perceiving a quality or an attribute of this I. Isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet if I told you, no, you are not aware of your perception, that Vikas sitting next to you. You say, no, I am aware of. With this I, you see, on what type of knowledge are you concluding that I?
That I is the important thing, right?
On
The
what type
feeling
of knowledge?
Feeling of I mean, I can't explain it, but yeah.
On what type of knowledge are you concluding that I? Okay, can I break that down slowly?
Yeah.
Go slowly? Okay. So, what color is this couch?
Blue.
You perceive the blue, you see blue. Is this world, is it flat or is it spherical?
Flat.
This world is flat?
Yeah, it's flat. That's the floor and
This earth is flat or spherical?
the earth is supposed to be like a sphere.
Exactly. So although our experience of it is flat, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The experience in perception is flat. So the way you answered blue, you also answered flat. But to most people will say spherical because you'll say, but we've heard from credible sources, and there are experiments, all of that stuff, which shows you it's spherical. So these are two types of knowledge. One is perception. The second is to have a concept of. We have a concept that is earth. Now, is this earth still or is it moving?
It's supposed to be rotating.
Rotating and going round, revolving, rotating, everything, all this.
Yeah.
And we believe that because some super smart people are saying it. So that is called conceptual knowledge. It is not our experience, but we take that to be true because It comes from credible sources.
Yeah.
The other knowledge is this one, seeing is believing. You
Seeing.
notice the perception. Now, this I that is aware of perception, which one of the two is it?
The awareness.
Yes.
is
Which one of the
aware.
How do you know of this awareness, the existence of this awareness? What type of knowledge is it? Do you perceive it or do you think about it?
No, I perceive it.
You perceive it?
Yeah, I
What is
just
its
see
color?
Color is blue like that. I mean, I'm
This
not
awareness?
thinking. It's the awareness which tells me. I mean, which makes me say it's.
Yes, but this awareness itself, how do you know?
It's a feeling, Guruji.
Is it a feeling?
See, so even when I close my eye, I know I'm aware.
Is it a feeling? A feeling is like anger, lust, all these are feeling. What is the feeling of awareness?
Well, I don't know. I am not able to say.
This is beautiful. You may not recognize it is beautiful, but it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because what you're actually doing is you're accessing a third type of knowledge, which is not perceptual,
Yeah.
it is not conceptual,
Yeah.
you see, and yet it is so obvious.
Yeah, it's there.
So that is called self-knowledge. You see? So the Vedantins, what did they do? They said forget about everything that comes and goes, which means forget about all the perceptions. So they're saying all this sensory knowledge, forget about it. Then in all traditions, Vedanta, Sikhism, Christianity, all of this is saying go beyond your thought knowledge, conceptual knowledge. You see? No matter how much you think, you will not get it through thought. You see? So they have discarded both of these. You see? Now we say mostly in the human condition we end up believing that without these there is nothing. We are lost.
Yeah.
But that is not true. Without relying on this, there is a higher knowledge which is called intuition. So how do you know that you are aware? Not through the head,
Yeah,
not through the senses. So this is that knowledge.
Yeah.
So when I ask you, are you aware now? With which tool do you confirm that you are aware?
So I'm just aware. I don't know
That's
from where
it.
I come.
That's it.
uh,
That's it.
that's the intuition which makes it.
That's it. Because just like that is not fancy, so we use fancy word, intuition.
Yeah. Yeah.
If everyone said you will come to know yourself just like that, everyone will say, oh, who's this stupid guy? Stop. You will have an intuitive insight about yourself. You see? So this universal knowledge,
Yeah.
you see, is so apparent. But because we have mistakenly taken only perception and concept to be knowledge, we seem to have lost self-knowledge. You see?
Yeah.
That's why Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharishi said, self-knowledge will not be a new attainment.
Yeah.
It will be only the letting go of the ignorance, the cleaning up of the mirror will show you what you are. What is the cleaning up? From the ajnana, from avidya. Ajnana means to take a wrong notion of yourself to be the true notion about yourself. You see? Now this awareness which you are discovering so naturally, what words can be used to describe it?
Very
Not just difficult, impossible.
No.
Impossible. You see, so it cannot be captured in conceptual knowledge. What qualities can you say it has? Cannot say. So perception is not possible. You see? This is going beyond perceptual knowledge and conceptual knowledge into Atma Gyan, self-knowledge. You see? Now the mind will come and trouble you and say, so,
So what?
you see, and so what? Actually the full statement of that, so how does that help me?
Correct.
Correct.
See, after knowing that also, so what next? You know, you bring
Like
it
what
to
next?
market.
Because the awareness that we are discovering is beyond time. But the mind will say, okay, now this is clear to me. It is not clear to a me. You see? But it will try and use it. This is what I mean by trying to squeeze heart knowledge or intuitive knowledge into the head. You see? So the mind will quickly try to put this in a narrative and say, this is very good. Now, does this mean I'm enlightened?
What is, yeah.
You see? But the one who it is referring to is not the one that you are discovering yourself to be. Because it's saying whether the body mind is enlightened.
Yeah.
But what you're discovering yourself to be is beyond body mind.
Yeah, it's beyond body mind. That's true. Yeah.
What does that one want? Is there a next for that one?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure.
This is worth contemplating. No? That when the mind proposes a next or proposes a worthy desire to say, now you should aspire to share this knowledge. You have got it, it's so simple. Now you must share it. You see? Then quickly it can play a trump card and make you believe that you're back as a body mind again. You see? So this is the trouble. This is the struggle. So what you're discovering about yourself, make sure that your desire, as humble and as high as it may seem, does it really apply to what you have discovered about yourself? Because this is the way the mind will trouble you. You see, it will say, where is the Ananda? You see? And then it will say, oh, it was so clear when I was talking to Guruji. No? But now, it's gone. No, it hasn't gone. You see, it will never go. It's not possible for it to go. You see? But if you pick up a frame of reference about yourself, which Bhagavan called the I thought, you see, if you pick up a frame of reference about yourself, to hold on to that frame of reference, and for this self-knowledge to be as apparent as it is like this, is impossible. And you can experiment with this, you see. And that is why all the masters have said, don't identify. You see? Don't get into the stream of thought. That is the point of even mindfulness, which you were talking about. You were saying, can I keep it on the breath with no thought? Yes, completely fine. So, how much time does self-realization take?
It's very self-realization. I mean, many a times it takes ages or janmas to get it and all that, So the question it looks very very funny to how much time, half an hour, 1 hour, like that.
How much time did you take to realize you are this awareness?
This ordinary awareness is aware all the time.
What is extraordinary awareness?
I have no extraordinary awareness. I don't think so.
Is there such a thing?
Difficult question to answer.
Everything that's in the realm of speculation, which invites us to speculate, you see, just forget about it.
Yeah.
Just forget about it. Hmm? So even this question, is there extraordinary awareness? Forget it. It has no value. I was only prodding that because I heard this notion of ordinary awareness.
Yeah.
So what would make it ordinary? What would make it ordinary? Suppose a limitation would make it ordinary, and lack of any limitation would make it extraordinary. Check on yourselves and tell me whether you have a limitation, your awareness has a limitation, as a boundary, as a container.
I didn't follow.
Yes.
Sort of
No, I'll speak up.
No, just, that's okay. Yeah, yes,
So,
Guruji, please.
because there was a notion of an ordinary awareness,
Yes, ordinary.
I am only prodding that and checking what would make it extraordinary.
Yeah.
So I am proposing that suppose this awareness had no boundary, no limitation.
Yeah.
In fact, it was not in time and space.
Right.
That would make it pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
Right.
Now, check for yourself that awareness. Where is it contained? What are its limitations?
It has no limitation. It is my awareness is I'm aware all the time. I'm aware of the surroundings and
Where is that? What is the location of this awareness?
that I don't know, Guruji. I don't know.
Let's
whether
find
it is-
out. Is it in this objective universe? In this universe, you can only have objects, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Because when I've read something, it's sort of universal, that sort of thing. It's a borrowed knowledge, it's not my knowledge. What I have read, I'm telling that awareness is Ishavasya Sarvam, everything. So all that comes in, so it's not my own thinking
Now
or understanding.
suppose you went to a nice hotel for lunch. Nice hotel for lunch. Big buffet is laid out in front of you.
Okay.
Full, all the starter, soup, main course, dessert, everything is made. The best chefs in the world have made it. Now, when you are there, will you be very concerned about the recipes?
No.
So forget. It is for you. It is laid out in front of you. You don't have to worry about the spiritual encyclopedia and matching and all of that. Just leave all of that. Right? So, fully fresh. You will not find a self, that will match with your conceptual understanding of what the self has to be. That is guaranteed. You see? So either then we spend our life in a search for that conceptual understanding we have for something to match that, or we find what the master is pointing us to find, and then try to see if, okay, now the basic principles of timelessness, spacelessness, qualitylessness, all these apply to what you're finding or not. That is more than enough due diligence. See? Once you get into any sort of phenomenal due diligence, where is the love? Why don't I feel one with that boy sitting there? See? Then that becomes all phenomenally convoluted, because the oneness of Advaita is not, yes, I want to feel one with her and one with him and one. So somebody said to me like that, I said, why didn't you say one with the space also? Why you left the space between you as separate? See, why you picked on only this and that? You see? So these can lead you to misunderstanding. What you discover is that the entire dream is contained within you. Now within the dream you don't say, okay, dream character body has to feel one with that other character body. When you wake up, and sometimes you wake up within the dream itself, it's called a lucid dream. You realize the whole thing is a dream within you. That is the oneness. So don't let the mind give you some phenomenal things that you must check on, to confirm your discovery. Don't have to worry about that, because the mind is not a good arbitrator of this conversation.
It's very tricky.
It's very tricky, very sneaky, and it is. The mind's purpose is not to help you. The mind's purpose is to dominate
the ego.
Your life.
Yeah.
You see, it is to dominate your life in the notion of separation. You see? So otherwise what would happen is we say, okay, the mind is the voice of limitation. Your reality is unlimited. That would be enough. And the mind will say, oh good, you recognize it, bye-bye. It doesn't work like that, no. Instead it wants to perpetuate itself even more. As spiritual ego, as something special, as the one who has found this. It perpetuates the identity, it tries to perpetuate the identity even in the spiritual inside. So I started using a metaphor for this. No? So let's go back to Bhagwan's example. He said, the self is not a new attainment. It's always there. All you have to do is get rid of vasanas, mental conditions. I am showing you in a moment of emptiness of mental conditions, the self is very apparent. You're seeing that also very beautifully. You see, without any senses, without any concept, you're discovering I am aware. It's okay, don't worry about the word so much. I am aware. It is apparent. You see. Now, if you invite the mind to say, okay, what do you think? You see? So Bhagavan has said what? It is only the mind which makes you believe in your limitation. So let's, in our metaphor, call that the thief. Now if you call the thief and say, hello, I'm trying to catch you, can you tell me your address please?
You're asking me?
No. I'll repeat, my dear. So in our metaphor,
Yeah.
the mind is the thief,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Now, if you try to catch the thief
Yeah.
by calling the thief and
Mind-
saying,
mind very
I am trying to
simple.
catch you, Mr. Thief, can you tell me your address, please? What is going to say?
Yeah.
You say,
Catch.
you know that feeling of anger you got yesterday?
Yeah.
That is the thief. Work on your anger. You will say, you know, your partner is always getting in the way or something. Yeah?
Yeah.
It will not say it is me. Come catch me.
Catch
It will
me,
always
yeah.
divert you to something else.
Right.
It will say your sangha is bad, your master is bad, the teaching is bad, everything else is bad except the belief in the limitation which the thought is proposing. It will say that is bad.
Yeah.
Because the thief doesn't want to get caught.
Oh.
Not only doesn't it want to get caught, it wants to rule your life.
Right, right. Ruling. Yeah. Very true.
So,
And we depend more and more on the mind.
correct.
The more it
Even
is
as
happy
you are
and,
coming to the darshan of that which is nirguna,
Yeah.
you see, even as we come to the darshan of that which is empty of attributes and qualities, we, because it is our habit, we go to the mind and say, hello my friend, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, but where is the bhava? You know, where is the ananda? Where is the bliss? And we say, yeah, where is? But what about the nirguna you just recognize, which is beyond bhava? You see?
Yeah.
So don't fall for that trick. Fall for that trick. You see? And this is the beauty of this intuitive insight, that in your heart, you see, if there is a point where you need some guidance about in life also, it is the supreme intelligence which is making the plants grow and your heart beat. It is not mental processes that are doing that. You see? So you can trust it for that also. You see? So how can you confirm that you're being intuitive and not mental? That is then the crux question which you would have asked me eventually, so I'm preempting it. You see? So you can confirm that you are being intuitive when what you have just seen or who you are is apparent to you. Because when you are in the hypnosis of belief and thought, you see, then the self is not apparent, although it never goes away. You see? But that it never goes away is also apparent only when you are out of the hypnosis of thought, and that out of the hypnosis happens instantly. You see, so this is what led to the confusion part of it. So when Bhagavan said, all you have to do is be free from your vasanas, be free from your conditioning, and self will be apparent to you. You see? Then the disciple said, okay, this is very good, I'm making progress. Please, Bhagavan, tell us, how can I be free of my conditions, my vasanas? He said, it already is so. It's very goal, isn't it? Because he said, to come to self-knowledge, you have to be free from things. You see? So if I was a devotee of Bhagavan, I would have had a tantrum and said, if it already is so, then why did you say I have to be rid of them? And I'm sure he would have said, because it is true. I wonder if I can. You see, it is true at the level of hypnosis. You see, it's true that at the level of hypnosis, and we tried this experiment the other day. Is that why do masters insist that you must be open empty, you must be in no mind, you must be in unborn? Because the self doesn't change. So what does mind or no mind have to do with it? Because even that intuitive insight that the self doesn't change, it's only available in the no mind. You cannot take the I thought to be true and hold on to self-knowledge. That is the bane of the human condition. So that is the crux of satsang. Now if you go to the head and say, now what else? What do you think? You go to the thief, it will throw a stone and say, now what am I supposed to do? When I go home, what can I practice? You see, so it sold you about a limited you again, no?
Yeah. So just be like a child.
For
and
whom?
then go back to that state of
I'll
no
give
mind.
you that answer also. Promise you. I'll give you that answer. But who are you referring to yourself as?
Pardon me?
I'll give you that answer, I said also.
Okay.
Because it is part of my job. But let's ask for a moment, but who are we referring to again?
It's an I that we are referring to.
So when the I goes home, which I goes home? Which I will go home?
I think for the person.
Is there such a one?
Huh?
Is there such a one?
Yeah, there is that awareness tells me that I am not the body and the mind, but apart from that I is in the body and mind. Of course, without it, it can't exist, right?
Okay.
So
Now,
when I say I, these days I don't mean the body. I know that I have the I resides in the body, or something like that, or something like that. Huh?
so my invitation and in fact imploration to you
Huh.
would be to leave the spiritual encyclopedia,
Okay.
because it will not help you anymore. It has served its purpose. Now you have to rely on your own insight.
Right.
You see? Because at this point, your spiritual knowledge will get in your way, not help you.
Right. Yeah.
You see? So it's time to throw away the recipe books,
Okay.
because you have bought yourself a lifetime free card to the Leela Palace. You can eat there anytime, or whichever is your favorite restaurant. Yeah? Don't have to trouble yourself with this thing. In the mind's narrative, it will want something to come to a very logical conclusion. This I understood, finally this was also understood, then I understood everything. No, but what you are coming to is beyond conceptual understanding. The conceptual understanding, whatever part it had to play, it has been played.
Yeah.
Now if you try to force fit that which is beyond any concept into that stream of narrative, you're only going to struggle with. It can make us feel a bit helpless for a moment, because we relied on that spirituality for a long time. You see? But this will force you to rely on a fresh God rather than a learned God. It can seem a bit unnerving for a little bit. And everybody has gone through that wobbliness. Everybody goes through that wobbliness. So it's very important that you don't determine your present state, because the mind will offer that to you and say, it was a good conversation, this is what happened, this is where you see. But the need of that determination of where you are in the narrative, it's only so that it can sell you on the idea of next. You see? So if I ask you, where does the story go from here? Where does the story go from here? You should ask, but where is the story now? Before I can determine where it goes, you see, I need to start with once upon a time there was a king and then he lived in this kingdom, whatever. That sets the subtext for the mind to operate. If you don't make any such determinations about the nature of your reality,
it's so simple actually, sort of.
yes, it is, but not even that.
Not even that, is it?
Not even that. Don't determine anything about the nature of reality, not even that it is simple.
Yeah.
For a while, you have to allow me to make all the nonsense determinations.
Okay.
Huh? You don't make it.
Yeah.
How are things? How is Satsang? Did you find something?
Very useful.
It's okay. observe the nature of the mind, it will wobble a bit and try to say something, it will try to hold on to saying. Yeah? That is open and empty. That is open and empty. Is this today or yesterday? No, not even that way. I know, it's good, it's fine. But not even that.
Not even that.
Quiet or not quiet? You see?
Words sort of make things difficult, I think, for us. Yeah.
Including these.
Yeah.
You see, what we are doing now still is the grasping at some conceptual nature of reality.
Right.
Even if we say words make things difficult, it is grasping at a conceptual nature of reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's okay. And as you keep coming to satsang, you'll find it natural not to need a conceptual description of what is. Because that is what the mind is constantly proposing. Some truth, some reality about what is. Thank you for your openness to. Thank you for your openness to have this conversation. That's all.
I mean, I'm desperate. I've come here for Guruji's. The only way, I mean, because I've enough with the books, then I thought through Guruji, it is only through a Guru that you can learn something. So I thought all my doubts will be cleared, in which you have already done so well, and thank you so much. Thank you is not the word, so I'm sorry.
No, that's good.